So here you are. This is a metaphor to demonstrate what each of us is as a human being. You see, only a small amount of us is seen. Like in the case of an iceberg, 10% is seen and the other 90% is unseen beneath the water. And so that's very similar to who we are and what we're doing here. A better way to work with this metaphor would be to flip it upside down. And that's what we're doing here, where we're saying the largest part of ourselves is yet to be discovered, and yet science is saying that everything is coming from that 10%, that small amount that we see here. And that this human being inside our head, inside our brain, that is manufacturing the whole other 90% of our energetic reality. The rest of us, what we call spirit, what we call soul, what we call the psychological part, and the etheric body, all these different aspects of our reality that are unseen, science says it all comes from us. But that would mean the tiny part, the 0.0000001%, is producing the 99.99999%, which makes no sense at all. So looking at breaking this iceberg down, the unseen part, we can think of as our multidimensional aspect of our being, that the very top aspect is what we call soul, source, where everything comes from, that is immortal, that lasts forever. And that has different aspects that are expressed on different dimensional levels. The 5D level, the fifth dimensional level, is a mental level. The fourth dimensional is astral, which is where colors are often seen when people are able to read auras, or when they see someone shifting their emotional state. They can see that happening in the aura on the fourth dimension. And on the fifth dimension, this is something that goes beyond time and space, which is why some of us are able today to move into these higher dimensional states of consciousness and actually access the future, and access the past, and access the existence of other beings that have been in this physical dimension but now exist on a higher dimensional reality. So we are not totally unfamiliar with these higher dimensions, but it's just that it is so challenging to access it, to get there, and to be able to work with that in our reality, which is the solid, liquid, gas aspect of our reality, the 3D physical aspect of our reality.
And it's very understandable that we don't easily access this information, and recognizing ourselves on all these different levels, because we've been keyed in through all of our experiences, our education, all of our upbringing, to touch into the physically oriented senses, as opposed to the ones that are beyond that spectrum of physical sensation. So this really is a training in a lot of ways to get us on par with the aspects of life that we just haven't really been educated to bring into our lives.
Absolutely. And we are living such a truncated small part of our potential reality, our potential understanding of how everything works. You see, all difficulty and disease is the actual blockage or denial of energy from source. That means that soul, source, that highest aspect of ourself, has to flow through all these different dimensional levels to get into our 3D reality, the physical. It's similar to what I'm using on the right is another metaphor, which is a boat that is pumping air to a diver. So that top understanding is source, and the bottom 3D physical human being is being connected to source, and it's essential that we have that connection, because our life wouldn't exist without our connection to source. If soul were taken away, the physical would die. It does not exist without that connection. And more than that, it actually is responsible, that connection, to so much that we consider positive in our lives. So that's what I'm going to share with you here, is that opening to that flow of your higher self, bringing that energy through, existing from that understanding, that higher space, your higher dimensional self. What that offers you is literally everything you think of as positive. It's like all your health, all your love, joy, wisdom, what your creativity, your ability to make things and manifest things comes from that place of understanding. All the conflict and stress you feel in your life dissipate, actually disappear, when you have that higher connection, because that is our center. That is the core of our being that's referred to in meditation. When we get connected to that higher, larger self, then deeper meditation happens. Inner peace is found, and we're able to translate that into restful sleep, as well as a restful day, where we don't get stressed out by the small things that don't go in the ways we expect them to. And this is the essence of mindfulness. It's really what it takes to be aware of all the other things in your life and how they are affecting you, and what the right course of action is, and to be aware of what someone else is going through, that connections that's going on with them and with other things, and your own value, your own self-worth. It's so important to have that higher connection, because when you're coming from that place, you know your true love, your true source. That's where your value is seated. That's where you really can find your place of power, your place of strength. And of course, as we were saying earlier, this is where intuition and higher dimensional communication with other aspects, other energies that exist on these higher dimensional levels. And, that's what we do, you and I.
Absolutely. And it's important, I think, to mention that there are cultures um, on this planet now, and certainly there have been other cultures that are no longer here, that are ancient cultures that understood the importance of these levels of connection and the wisdom that comes with it. And so there were trainings, there were meditations, there were um, there were all kinds of ways that from the time someone was young, they oriented themselves to their spiritual nature and to the ways that they could work with their intuition and their creativity and their relationship to higher knowing in their everyday life. They expected that. That was a part of how they moved ahead in their lives. So in some ways, it's an anomaly that we live in a culture where so much of that has just been, sort of edited out of our everyday life. So we're really bringing in something that's very natural, very normal, and has been extremely useful in so many civilizations. And there are certainly tribes, small civilizations that are here now that depend on those qualities of knowing, of going beyond the physical, everyday sensory perceptions.